Koch brothers are all over the country, including Tennessee, and they're trying to intimidate people into making sure that they don't use the things that are available under the Affordable Care Act. Now, especially in Republican-controlled states. Well, in Tennessee, we have a very popular governor, Bill Haslam, who's a Republican, got easily reelected, and he's got a lot of power now in the state, and he's got a Republican legislature to work with. So he decided, hey, listen, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to expand Medicaid, but I'm going to do it under a conservative ideology. So let's go to an explanation from NBC News. Tennessee would accept more than $1 billion in federal funding to expand Medicaid as allowed for in the Affordable Care Act. But Obama aides would allow Haslam to essentially write staunchly conservative ideas into the program's rules for the state. He dubbed the reformed Medicaid program Insure Tennessee. So what Haslam's doing is he's kind of rewriting the law, but the Obama administration is letting him because they want some experimentation. That's also built into the law, right? And you want to try a conservative approach, but you're still giving people more insurance? Great, we're going to give you $1 billion for the state of Tennessee. Now, which governor in their right mind isn't going to take $1 billion, especially when it's under their rules and they get to set how this program works? So Haslam logically decided he's going to go in that direction. And he actually had a lot of Republican support to push it through his legislature until the Koch lords came into town. And Charles and David Koch sent their group, Americans for Prosperity, to make sure the good people of Tennessee remain uninsured. You will not take that federal money. You will not help the citizens of Tennessee. And if you do, there's going to be consequences. So more explanation from NBC News. AFP, that's Americans for Prosperity, campaigned aggressively against Haslam's plans for the next 6 weeks, even running radio ads blasting GOP state legislators who said they might vote for it. And guess what happened? All of a sudden, you've got all that money coming in. This is where money in politics is a huge problem, right? And it runs against Republicans. The Republican legislators, they get scared. They go, oh my God, this guy's saying I'm like Obama. He's going to mislead people into thinking that these really conservative Republicans in Tennessee are on Obama's side. So they pull away, and all of a sudden Haslam doesn't have enough support, and poof, the plan goes away. So this is how the Koch brothers fight. You think they're just fighting Democrats? No. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, you're a really conservative Republican. If you don't do exactly as you're commanded by the Koch brothers, no, you're going to have trouble on your hands. And they will spend a lot of money against you. And if you stand in their way, they will steamroll you, and they'll make sure that you lose, and a Koch robot replaces you, even if you're a Republican. So in Tennessee, it worked. In other places, it's worked as well. Unfortunately, they went to Wyoming and did a very similar strategy. Now, here's where they ran into trouble. When they went to Montana. And ooh, I love this part of the story. Okay, so they're doing the same exact trick. Montana is considering expanding Medicaid, but under their own rules. And a couple of the Republicans in the state are considering it. They haven't even voted yet. State Representative Frank Garner is among them, and others like State Representatives Jeff Welborn and Tom Berry are saying, hey, we're going to think about it. So here come the Koch brothers, and they say, how dare you? You're not allowed to do that, okay? And we will crush you. And all of a sudden, they call a town meeting in Frank Garner's district. Now that's 8 hours from the state capitol. They don't even tell Frank Garner. He said, what the hell is going on? So he drives 8 hours to get to the meeting, right? He says, no, you're not going to do this on my watch. So let me explain it from the top here. The Koch-sponsored group is blanketing their House districts with mailers that show each lawmaker's face superimposed over a photograph of President Barack Obama. Same exact trick. They're saying, Frank Garner, or is he really President Obama? Guy's a conservative Republican from Montana, right? No, not good enough if you're not a Koch robot. Okay. But that's not how Frank Garner rolls, and that's not how Montana rolls. So Frank Garner responded this way. If the purpose is to make sure legislators know, then why am I the only one here? He asked in the town hall. And why didn't I get an invite? I promised the people here when I ran that I would listen to you and not out-of-town special interests. So he's saying, wait a minute, what are you doing calling a town hall in my district? Why didn't you invite me? And if you really care to discuss these issues, why don't you invite any of the legislators? What you want to do instead was propaganda, right? So look, I'm telling you, Wolfpack, of course, you know, is to get money out of politics, right? wolf-pack.com. And we told you we're not just going to be in blue states, we're in red states. In fact, we're in red states right now. We're fighting in Virginia, New Hampshire, and Montana. And people say, oh, no, you can't win in a red state. Why? You think Republicans in places like Montana like to have the Koch brothers come in and buy their state legislature? They don't like it. You think Frank Garner likes it? And I don't want to speak for Frank Garner on what he believes on the issue of getting money out of politics. But I do know that there are a ton of Republicans all across the country, and that's why we're doing well in red states, who say, I don't want the Koch brothers buying me off. I don't want them replacing me with a Koch robot, and not on my watch. I love these Republicans. We might disagree on everything else, but the fact that they're fighting back against these guys and not letting money corrupt politics is something I can definitely get behind. Now, here's more great details. So, the local paper, Flathead Beacon, says Garner's mere presence had a chilling effect on the Americans for Prosperity presentation, which was frequently derailed by laughter, booing, and shouting from audience members who overwhelmingly expressed support for Garner. So, good people of Montana, look, they made it clear over and over again. People of Montana have voted to get money out of politics. They've tried to keep money out of politics since literally for 100 years in Montana. The Supreme Court overruled some of the Montana rulings saying that you can't corrupt our politicians by donating money to their campaigns, right? So they're not having any of this either. In fact, I want to quote a couple of the voters here. Nathan Costed says, why did you call this a town hall meeting? I didn't get an invite. I wish I'd been invited because I want to know how we get the Koch brothers out of politics. I want to know how we get you out of politics. I love these guys. It's a Republican rebellion in Montana against the Koch brothers. Here's another voter. He said, you have pissed me off. Character assassination does not go down well in Montana. If he has to take a pledge, then I want it to be a pledge of allegiance because they don't represent you. They represent me. Damn. I love that, man. So because the Koch brothers come in with Americans for Prosperity and they say, you need to take a pledge to never increase Medicaid, never agree with Obama on anything. And Frank Garner is saying, hey, can I just use my own mind for a second? Is it okay if I don't let you borrow my mind here? Is it okay if I don't let you brainwash me? I'll take whatever goddamn pledge I like and won't take one I don't like. And I'll use my own mind and my own judgment because I'm my own man. And I'm representing these good folks in Montana and not you, right? And his voters agree with him. So I love this uprising. Finally, we come back to Frank Garner, and here's what he says. If every time they want me to sign a pledge card and I don't do it, they're going to rent a room and have a meeting, then this is going to get real expensive because I'm not signing the pledge card. Regulate, son, regulate. It's hard not to like the Republicans of Montana. Again, we can disagree on everything else, but the most important thing is representatives that actually represent us. So the good folks of Montana are conservative, great, then have conservative representatives. But what we can't have is representatives that actually represent the Koch brothers, that represent the incredible outside money coming into your politics, trying to control what you do in your own state. So it doesn't matter if you're a liberal or conservative, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. You should be opposed to money in politics. And it doesn't just have to be the Koch brothers. It could be Soros, it could be anybody. It could be the unions, it could be corporations. I don't want any of them buying our politicians. I want our representatives to represent us. And that is what the good people of Montana want too. So we're going to get that money out of politics everywhere. Believe it. wolf-pack.com. We're not only coming, we're already here. We're in Montana.